This is the Political Spotlight.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey.
And get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The Political Spotlight is a joke.
He is like a rude, crude dude that will never go
Bilbrey's a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. It's the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. It's episode 653. We've got a little bit different view for the evening. We're going to be working with a couple of different things over the next couple of days as we're checking out different things. We're going to have a couple of different shots, but however, because I was moving things around, we weren't able to get camera one going over there. So we're doing this. I was playing around with it too much last night, and I guess we got stuck here. But no, we'll be fine. Everything will be going good, and we'll be back to normal camera tomorrow. But hey, this isn't bad. You get a little bit closer up view. You still see stuff behind me. Got to fix that flag behind me again. I forgot to do that today. It's been a busy day. This is episode 653. If you're watching live, it is 9:05 p.m. on Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. And oh my gosh, there is so much going on. We are trying to get through everything and trying to make sure that everybody is getting the information they need. We are winding down this 2026 primary election season. I think the only people that could possibly be more excited than I am are probably the candidates. And so we're going to be winding it down here soon. Election day is, of course, Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. Election day here in the state of Indiana is from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. unless something happens different from your neck of the woods, okay? That being said, you can still vote tomorrow, Thursday, in your various areas in Delaware County. It's at the Delaware County Clerk's Office. In Henry County, it's the Masonic Building, I think, for those that are going to be tuning in tonight for the sheriff's candidate. And then you'll be able to vote on Friday. You'll be able to vote Saturday. That's very big. People don't know that always. You can vote Saturday, and that's big. Then you can vote Monday early. You can vote Monday at from like 8:30 to noon, and then it's done. And then Tuesday is the big day. So remember and be sure to get out and do what you got to do. We don't want to leave anybody on the table. We want to make sure that everybody gets out and votes if they are able, if they are eligible, if you're educated and you know what's going on, please get to the polls and make your picks known. That's what we have to do. Okay, so tonight we do have yet again another candidate for a candidate interview. I will tell you that I'm excited to talk to this candidate. This candidate will, unless something strange happens, and I don't foresee it happening, this candidate will close out the Randolph County, damn it, I knew I was going to do that, the Henry County Sheriff's candidates. In Henry County, there is a really big race going on for sheriff. There is an incumbent sheriff running currently. He has one term and he's going for another term. And then he has 6 other opponents. In the primary, he and 4 others are running. And then on the Democrat side, there are 2 Democrats running. And so that's a total of 7. We have heard from one of the Democrats, and we've heard from all but 2 of the Republicans, and I don't foresee the other two Republicans coming on, but this was the last Republican candidate, and we've had him on before. He ran 4 years ago, and so I've been looking forward to having him on again this time. It's going to be a good time. Besides that, we also, hey, if Sproles or Howard wants to come on last minute, I will take either one of them. I'll take them up until I'll talk to them on election day. If either one of them would want to come on and talk, either one of those candidates, I would be willing to talk to either one of them. I think that would be fantastic and interesting. But that's not who we're talking about tonight. Tonight, we're talking about Jason Williams. I'm going to get to him in just 1 second. I do want to kind of let everybody know we've had a change in programming. Pretty much all week, we have basically scheduled that tonight was going to be the night that we were going to talk about the insurance discrepancies. The discrepancies between what the sheriff and chief deputy are currently saying is going on with the insurance issues. And we were going to talk about the documentation that we found. Kate's been a really big proponent of this. She's been working behind the scenes really hard, issuing record requests and putting this together. And so we've been putting this together and are going to talk about it. We were going to talk about that tonight after the candidate interview. We were going to talk to the candidate, and then afterwards we were going to talk about that. I really think that the insurance conversation is probably going to take an entire show. So that's thought number one. But thought number two is we've had just way too much breaking news today that I feel like we can't let go until tomorrow. So first and foremost, I want to say we do have news that we're going to talk about concerning the Muncie Fire Department and embattled Muncie firefighter Troy Delaney. There's been some new breaking news reference Troy Delaney, his situation, a new old story or a new old set of allegations that are out. We'll talk about all of that. We're going to talk about every bit of that. And we're going to talk about my thoughts about all of that, my thoughts about Troy, my thoughts about the fire department, and my thoughts about everything that's going on. And I'm going to tell everybody right now, right up front, it is a complex series of thoughts that I have. It's not just black or white. It's a lot of gray, and it twists and turns. And so I think it's a story where there's a little bit of good in everybody involved, and there's a lot of bad, and there's a little bit of bad, and there's a whole bunch of chaos, and we're going to talk about it all. So we are going to talk about that, and that's going to be a big chunk of the second half of the show. But unfortunately and sadly, I do have to say, and this does not bring me any amount of joy or pleasure. I'm actually really broken up about this, honestly. Politics aside, my opinions aside, I hate to have to say that, unfortunately and sadly, Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour today did make public his cancer diagnosis, and we're going to get into that a little bit. I want to talk about that, not from a gross point of view, not from the point of view of anything political. I just want to talk about the human side of that and what that means and what we as the public should be doing in this situation, and put that out there. So we are going to talk about that, and that's very important. And I want to say straight out here at the beginning, before we even talk about that, I sent a message to Dan. Not going to get into that message, but I'm letting you know that politics aside, or political disagreements aside, I hate that he's going through this. My thoughts and my prayers are with Dan. My thoughts and my prayers are with his wife and their family, their extended family, all of their friends and loved ones. And people don't think about this, but my thoughts and my prayers as a Christian really go for his doctors and his nurse and the care team and the people that will be working for him. He announced today that he does have a cancer diagnosis, prostate cancer, and that it started out kind of slow moving. It is a little bit more serious now than what they initially thought, and that he's going to be taking treatment and surgery that's going to be taking him out of the office for about 6 weeks or maybe more. So, it just depends, how those things go. So my thoughts and my prayers with all of those people involved. We are going to talk about that a little bit, so we will get into that. But before we get all of there, I want to get back to Henry County, and we are going to talk about the Henry County Sheriff's race. And specifically, we're going to be talking about Jason Williams. He is currently a captain serving over the captain of the Detectives Division. He has served on the Henry County Sheriff's Department for 21 years. 17 of those years, he has served as a canine deputy. And that's just a really, really cool division out of all the things in law enforcement. I did patrol, I did investigations, I did narcotics, worked in the prosecutor's office as an investigator there. Loved the investigative side of things. I have a very investigative mind. I always wanted to work canine, never worked canine. I worked around the canine division. I helped train those handlers, and their dogs are amazing. And it's really cool that he worked in canine for 17 years. He's now, working as captain of detectives. He's running for sheriff as a Republican, and we're going to pull him up and talk to him and find out why he's running again, what he wants to change, and all of that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Captain Jason Williams. How you doing?
Good, Chris. How you doing?
All right. I'm glad that you're here, and glad that we were able to make this work. And so I think you've been on a couple times, a time or two with us, but it's been a little bit since then. People have slept. But for those that don't know you or haven't heard much about what you're doing, why are you running? Who are you? And what's going on? Why are you here?
Well, first off, I'm Jason Williams. I'm a Republican candidate running for sheriff here in Henry County. I've been on 21 years, as you alluded to a while ago. 17 of those years have been as a canine officer, 15 years as a SWAT guy. I've done 2 years at the drug task force as reserve unit coordinator. There's been a lot that I've been able to do in my career, and I've been very fortunate to do. But I will tell you, I'll agree with you, Chris. The best part of my career was the having canine, for sure.
I heard you say last night that you had two partners in your time there, and in 17 years you had two partners.
Yep.
What were their names?
Hector was my first one, and Rico was my second one.
What was your first dog's name?
Hector.
Ha! I had a Hector. I had a German Shepherd named Hector, and my German Shepherd's name was Hector when I was younger. And my grandmother had a Hector, and that's a really cool name.
Yeah.
And,
well,
that's
he was a Malinois.
Yeah.
So he was crazy. He was absolutely crazy, and I loved him. He was awesome. He was a lot better canine unit than what I was at the time, because he was my first one. And then I kind of started getting the hang of it. And my second one with Rico was we had a good time. It was a lot of fun, for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. And what did you say the second one's name was?
Rico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Heard a lot of canines over the years with the name Rico, but I've never really heard another dog anyone ever call another dog Hector. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I've had German Shepherds, and my grandmother had a German Shepherd that they loved named Hector, but I've had a Malinois too, and those are really crazy dogs. And
yeah, they are.
It's a crazy time. So. Obviously, I mean, hell, I could talk to you all night just about the canine stuff, but
yeah, me too.
So besides that, I heard you last night. I went to the Knightstown Forum, and I heard some things that you said there, and I thought that was really interesting that you talked about just the perception of the department, and I think that's really big because it's the sheriff's department, specifically for a small town, is small counties. It's really kind of a strange thing because, obviously when you think about law enforcement, it shouldn't be political and politics shouldn't get involved in it. But then every 4 years you have the situation and you have guys that are running, and And so, I do my best to not get into the weeds of all of the pros and the cons, the bad things going on in the department. But obviously, like you said, there's a perception issue with the department. And so talk about your approach to trying to fix that. I think that's what the people need to hear, is how whoever is going to be sheriff next is going to fix the perception issue. And how would you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, Chris, it's not just within the sheriff's department. There's a lot of positives within the sheriff's department.
Sure.
It's the public perception outside. I mean, we hear it, we see it, we feel it when we're out and we deal with people. I see the comments, I read I hear it when I've been going door to door and talking to these people. The first question they have is, what are you going to do, or what's going to change? And I ask them, what do you want in a sheriff? And their question, their answer back to me is, well, we want somebody that's going to hold our officers accountable for what they do. And don't get me wrong, we have great officers. We do. We're a young department. We're very, very young. I would say probably, I think 12 or 13 out of our 17 or 18 road guys have less than 3 or 4 years experience. So we're a young department, but with that, obviously there's a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of room for improvement. And these guys are still getting their feet wet. They're still learning how to be cops. And so with them still growing and learning, now's the time to get them in the right direction, as far as what experience matters and leading them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big thing. The fact that you have so many younger guys on the department, it's a good opportunity for a department that's really into, the teaching and training aspect of it. And some departments are better than others in that. I don't specifically know, where your department is with that or whatnot, but it also has the opportunity, if you're doing things wrong, or there's a culture of things that shouldn't be doing that, right, it makes it kind of hard to correct it. So that can be a blessing and a curse, kind of, and it is a good opportunity. And so hopefully whoever is sheriff in the next 4 to 8 years will really be able to direct all those newer deputies into a good career, give them the basics that they need to last for another 25, 30 years.
Absolutely.
So obviously something that's obviously been on the minds of everybody. And, even just removing anything from Henry County, just looking forward all across Indiana, local city and county departments are talking about Senate Bill 1, or Senate Roll Act 1 now. And the crisis of, where are we going to be with property taxes and what's going on with the money? We're going to have, a lot of people are talking about doing more with less. That's going to strike the department one way or another. And then depending on what's going on with the insurance or whatever, you guys are going to be asked to do a really important job with less. And how do you think you're going to be able to approach that from a budget side of things?
Yeah. Well, for us, I mean, this will be the second Senate Bill 1 that I've went through. I missed the first one back in 2000. I think it was 2004. I started in 2005, so I kind of got on the tail end. But when I was hired in 2005, I was on what they called it was a government funded position through the federal government. It was almost like it was funded through CJI, and the department could hire these people as fully funded officers. But then I was under the impression it was an 18 or 2 year stipulation, and the department had to pick that up. And then Captain Nicholson, he and I talked about this the other night, and he said it was a 3-year deal. And so anytime within that 3 years, if you were on the grant position, then the department had to pick you up. So I was on that grant position, but I was only on there for about 8 months, 9 months, I think. And then somebody had left our department, and so I bumped up a spot. But we continued to hire on that. Well, since then, those grant positions have went away. We don't have those anymore. So fast forward to 2000, I believe it's 2011, 2012. The next Senate Bill 1 came through with all the property tax relief and all that. And, that hurts. That hurts a department when you're trying to have funding and you're trying to keep officers, you're trying to retain officers and get good officers to come to your department. So now here we are again. And yeah, I mean, there's no question that, you're going to have to tighten the purse strings up for sure. But I think a well working relationship with the council and the commissioners can solve a lot of that problem. If you don't have as much money there, then you're going to have to find other ways to fund it and unique ways to fund it and do the best you can.
Yeah. Do you have that relationship with members of the council and the commissioners? Have you over the years been developing that or been talking to these people? I mean, obviously it's a small community and
it's a small community. I mean, I know all of them, they know me, and, I've spoken to all of them, throughout this process and throughout this campaign, even before this, over the past, a lot of members have changed over the last, 21 years. But especially over the last, 10 years, I've worked well with them. I speak well with them. They can call me. They ask questions. I've spoken to like 2 or 3 of them over the past couple of weeks and about some things. So yeah, I work well with them.
Yeah. I think another doing these candidate interviews last night, I was talking, they're good for the people. They're good for the people. It's a very major struggle. It's a big struggle for us, and it's time consuming, and it's very crazy trying to get everybody in and trying to get people to do it and fighting back and forth whether you're going to do it or not. But yeah, I think the reason it's good is because it gives a longer format talk. You get to kind of hear from people. And, instead of being like, all right, you got 2 minutes and you're going to answer a question that may or may not really be about your department. So I think these are good. Yeah. And one of the things that we've been talking about a lot, I think it'll be interesting talking to you about specifically, because I've heard that you are in charge of, the EVOC training for your department, emergency vehicle operations, or the pursuit? Yes. You're in charge of the pursuit, looking over all of those.
I'm in charge of training, and okay. I'm our EVOC instructor, emergency vehicle operations instructor.
So for those that are not familiar, that's the getting behind the wheel and driving really fast in a safe way, due regard,
lights and
sirens and all of that, the fun stuff. So let me ask you this. Your approach as sheriff to the pursuits and to how the guys are doing things. I mean, obviously, it's a necessary evil. There are times when you got to chase the guy balls to the wall and you got to make it happen because of what the guy's done or what's going on. But does the pursuit policy need revamping? Is it okay? What's your thought on where we are with that now?
Well, as far as the pursuit policy, we've adopted the ILEA pursuit policy. Now, I believe in June 1 or July 1, we are going over to the policy from the Indiana Sheriff's Association policies, and they're all basically the same. They might have some different verbiage and things like that, and a lot of times, Chris, it's not the policy. It's to make sure that the policies and procedures are followed. Yes. That's the key right there. And the most important thing.
What as sheriff can you do or will you do to make sure that happens? And that, if there's a situation, if we're in a situation that's maybe getting out of hand or whatnot, even if we don't have like the second car there that's doing it or whatnot, that where a senior officer can stop that if it needs to be. I mean, is that just getting the deputies to know, hey, this is what's expected? I mean, because this is kind of an issue. It would be feeding into that public perception of the department. There's a lot of issues, rightly and wrongly. You know what I mean? The things that are right and wrong about it, but that would be a major issue with that perception. So how do we clean things up so we don't have that perception issue going forward?
Sure. For me, as if I was to be lucky enough to be elected sheriff, I think a lot of it is to, I don't know if empower is the right word, but I guess give your leadership guys the okay that, hey, if this, I keep talking about the totality of the circumstances, because we and as a former police officer, Chris, you know this, the totality of the circumstances dictates the tactics that we use. And if the risk outweighs the reward, that has to lean, you have to give that some credence there. So if it's if the risk is too high, it's okay to terminate, and there's no animosity or I guess bad thing about terminating the pursuit if that's what's necessary. We always talk about due regard, and my line of work as an EVOC instructor, and going through all that training, they hammered home the due regard, and you have to drive with that at all times, no matter, and it doesn't matter if you're in a pursuit or if you're driving down State Road 3 into construction, you still have to drive with that all the time. But in a pursuit, that is paramount. You have to have that, and it's okay. These guys have to be trained, and they have to know that it's all right to terminate a pursuit if they don't feel comfortable.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they don't have to be. And I want to clarify that they don't have to be they don't have to be a sergeant or a lieutenant or a corporal. If they don't feel right about it, and it's getting to a situation where the risk far outweighs the reward, then it needs to be terminated. Yeah,
absolutely. That's very important. And anybody that's ever been in a pursuit and driving, you get that. Nobody likes to lose. Nobody likes to give up. No, you don't like. Like to think like you can get the person, and it's an adrenaline situation, and you get it kicked in, but you got to be able to get out of that tunnel vision and know, hey,
we are a bunch of Type A personality guys. We want to get in there, and we'll chase them to the end of the earth if that's what it takes.
Right.
And I've told people in forums that, I've been involved in numerous pursuits, but I've also been involved in numerous pursuits that's went outside the county.
Yeah.
But the situation, the totality of the circumstances in each one of those dictated that I do that.
Yeah.
The one that I didn't make it outside the county that went downtown Indianapolis. I've been downtown Indianapolis on one, but the other one, the only reason I didn't end up there is because I ended up running over stop sticks in Hancock County. So, there's situations that we've all been in that, looking back, I would have been right in the middle of it. But it's also okay that, to terminate if you need to.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's good. I like that answer. And I'm going to get to Jeremy's question there and his statement here in just 1 second. But before we get off the car and the driving thing, I know there's been a lot of talk and push and confusion about cameras, and we need body cameras. Obviously, everybody should know that you guys have body cameras. It's something that almost all departments have had. It's 2026. I can't think of a department that doesn't have body cameras. That would be wild to me. You have body cameras. That's great. There's also been this big push and a lot of talking about cameras. And And, I know everybody's got lives and, not everybody tunes in, but I want to personally, and I've let everybody else I've talked to know this either online or off at other points, but
Sure.
I want to be sure that you're aware of this. And this is something that just happened to, I stumbled upon. I didn't even think about it because I file a lot of record requests, not a lot for police departments. It just depends on what's going on.
Mhm.
But it seems like here lately in the last year, I have looked at a lot of body camera footage from your department, from different departments.
Yep.
And the longest time in the back of my mind, because when I was on the police department, that's what I've said. When I was on the department, it was right when the body camera stuff started. So it was the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have body cameras then. We had the old dash camera in the car. And that, sometimes it was good and sometimes it wasn't. And you had the microphone on you and you could run in and it would be recording, but you just were looking at wherever you were aimed at. And then when you get these body cameras, you think, okay, they're going to be good. But I've seen a lot of footage with, all the officers. It'd be nice if we were all 7 foot tall and, 180 pounds, but that's not true. Some of them are short, some of them are,
Yep.
All different sizes. I've looked at a lot of body camera footage here where you see an officer driving in a car for 10 or 15 minutes with lights and sirens going somewhere, going to a pursuit, and the body camera's on the whole time, but it's recording the inside of the dash. You're getting nothing on the outside.
Or the steering wheel.
Yeah, you're getting the steering wheel in the dude's hairy
Yeah.
arm. And I'm like, dude, if there's a problem, this is a big issue. So I don't know if it's a need for dash cams or a need to put the body camera up higher on the uniform. But I mean, that seems like a major, major liability. You've got all this video recording and all this sound, but you're not seeing anything. And, God forbid if somebody walked out in front of that officer, or, say somebody else did something wrong and there was a big accident. And they're like, It's a he said, she said. So I'm not even really asking you a question. Just look into that. Examine the body.
Yeah. For me, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're kind of dating ourselves, I think, Chris, a little bit, but that used to be the thing was dash cams.
Yeah.
Everybody had dash cams, and then we all kind of got rid of them when body cams come on. Well, I know with both of my canines, I had dash cams in both the cars, but that was before we had body cams. So,
Sure.
I mean, I am not opposed to dash cams at all. I would love for each car to have a dash cam. I think that just is one more level of transparency.
Sure.
It's important, and it gives a whole new perspective of what we see. It gives a whole new perspective of what we deal with in a pursuit, other than, the crossing the arms or the dash or whatever. You get that traffic coming up to a stoplight or a stop sign, or, you get the full effect on, well, I wonder if they're going to stop, or they're going to keep going, that kind of thing. So I'm all for dash cams.
Yeah. I think that would be, or, even if it's not the dash cam, it just doing something with that body cam, that makes sure it's positioned to where when it's on, it can see what's going on. I think that's very important. We got a commenter here. Jeremy Godsey says, tell Jason. Jeremy says, hey, and he's got my vote due to the history with the family. He also has a question that says, have you looked into or thought about how the FBI, I think I know what he means, the FBI process could help him in the position of sheriff? Is that something that you or anyone on the sheriff's department has considered, going through that FBI academy that police officers will go through? You really hear a lot of it from the sheriff's department. I know our sheriff up in Delaware County, I think he went through it. I think Skinner went through it. I know some of the guys have. Is that something you've ever considered, or is that something the department ever looks at doing?
I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all.
Sure.
I appreciate the question from Jeremy. He and I go back a long way, for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I know the deputy chief from Newcastle, Justin Wardlow, just graduated from the FBI Academy. I think earlier this month, or maybe it was last
beginning
month.
of April. Yeah.
But he just went through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just adds a little bit more prestige to it. So a lot of things that, I never really had to consider because I never worked for the sheriff's department. So that, I never really considered the jail much, but as the sheriff, it's not just all the law enforcement side. The jail's a big part of it too.
Yep.
So, what's your outlook as far as the jail? Have you ever done any work in the jail, or anything like that? Okay.
No, I got hired as a merit deputy on the road.
Yeah.
2005. Yeah.
So, how do you look at the things that need improved in the jail, or how do you make things better that, or keep things going? If the things that are good going, what's your thoughts in the jail?
Well, as far, not just for the jail, but for the overall, for all divisions, the jail, the road, CID, the drug task force, the work, or not the work, the court system, with our court deputies, everybody working together. But specifically the jail, I want our jail officers to be the best trained jail officers in the state of Indiana, or in the country for that matter. I want them to feel confident in their abilities. I want them to feel confident when they show up to work every day that they can handle whatever situation that they need to handle. And I want them to be professional at all times. And, and we have great people that work in the jail, and, we have great people that, throughout our department. But, as far as any changes and things like that, I mean, I haven't even went there. It's way too early for that.
Sure. Okay.
I'll get there, but it's just, I got to win this election first.
Right. I hear you. Another question that's been coming up a lot, just kind of, the nature of the beast with everything going on, the flock cameras and drones. It's coming from your position, you're going to probably be more pro that, but how do we juggle this and kind of put safeties in place so nothing's being abused and we're not violating people's Fourth Amendments? What's your thought there?
Sure. I'll tackle one of those at a time. First off, the drones. I think as long as you are, obviously we're using them lawfully, for a lawful purpose, whether that be a SWAT call out or, I've been with our drone operators on 2 different occasions, once on a SWAT call out, and then once where the drone operator was able to locate a stolen vehicle that backed up in some trees on a property, on the north side of Newcastle. So the drones are an invaluable resource that we have. And, I love having them. Our operators, even though they're new operators, they do a good job, and they're serious about it. And they enjoy having that specialty. And I think it's good. On the SWAT side, if you can have a drone go through a house and try to locate somebody, suspect or something, that's a lot better than sending 6 or 8 guys in the door and, putting them in danger when you don't have to.
Well, sure.
What'd you say in the second part? Oh, the flock cameras.
The flock cameras.
The flock cameras, we have a ton of flock cameras in Henry County. Not only Newcastle has them in the city, but we have them in the county as well. And for us, that is a valuable resource for us. I mean, we use it more on the stolen vehicles or locating a suspect vehicle. I know when stolen vehicles come up on them, suspended drivers come up on them, expired license plates come up, things like that. But the majority of the times that I use it are for investigation purposes, trying to locate a stolen vehicle or a suspect vehicle and find them.
So, I don't know this. I'm not 100% sure how this works. So, you guys can actually go to a system and interact with like you as the captain of detectives can go and get into a system and see the information and search, like hit search queries of things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a query search, and if that vehicle hit a flock camera, it will tell me what flock camera that hit.
Okay. And does every deputy on the department have access to that, or is it certain? Is it like, supervision or what's going on?
No, it's every deputy has access to it.
And so I'm not saying this has happened. I'm just using me, so I'm not using anybody else. But like, so is that something? And I don't know if this is possible or not. Is that something that I would assume you don't know what I drive, right? I don't know that.
I do not.
You're right.
And I obviously I was a little surprised to see you last night. I was glad you showed up, but no, I didn't see you when you left or whatever. You headed out a little early.
Sure
so.
We weren't like right next to each other when we left or whatever. So just saying, just for the sake of argument, it's not. Is it something that you can go and say, type my name in and find that information? Is that how it works, or like you can't like, say I'm looking for Christopher Bilbrey, and then if I drive under a flock camera in Muncie, it's going to ping you and say, okay, Bilbrey's in Muncie.
Nope.
Okay.
That's not how that works.
Okay. I did not know. I've never worked that. The flock is all new. That's all.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world,
Yeah, definitely not how that works at all.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And we have a commenter that asks this to every person that I bring on. It doesn't matter if it's a candidate interview or what we're talking about. He asks this of everybody, and some people it's probably more important to than others. I tend to think it's a big thing. Do you know? And this is not a gotcha question. We'll just find out what your words are here. What your thought is. Do you know the 5, or can off the top of your mind, are you aware of the 5 rights that the First Amendment protects against?
Speech, religion, assembly, press, and I believe right to petition.
Yeah, I think that's all. Did you say? Yeah, I think. Yeah. A couple of you've got all 5.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody says. If they would have just watched the show before, everybody would know that. But that's
I'll
good.
I'll thank the Ball State University Criminal Justice Department for that.
That's good. Hey, it's useful for something. I've been through there.
I didn't think it was useful for anything at the time, but I'll take it now.
Right. Absolutely. So there's been some talk, and I'm not sure if I don't know if you're aware of this or if you know about this or not. There's been a lot of talk about I guess Henry County is either in possession of or is getting ready to take possession of a mobile command unit. We know anything about that?
I've heard that.
Okay.
I wasn't in that decision making process.
Okay.
So I don't know much about it.
Is that something that you think is, if you're sheriff, is that something that's useful? Is that something you'd be like, yeah, we'll use that, or no, let's sell it and use the money on something else? Like, what's your thoughts about that? And I'm not asking.
I mean, honestly, I think what's that?
I'm not asking you to like knock your employer's decision. I'm just trying to find out what's your thoughts.
I'm not gonna knock the decision. I mean, it was his decision to make, and I think, Chris, honestly, it's one of those things where you don't know how bad you need it, until you have to have it, and so for that, in that regard, it's probably something that has been needed. But we also have 2 all-terrain vehicles, side by side, and a 4-wheeler, that you have to have some way to get both of those vehicles someplace in a hurry. And if you need both of them at the same time, it'd be convenient to haul them around together. But I wasn't in on that decision. So obviously they felt like we needed it, and so it's here it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just kind of winding down, when you're walking around, I mean, obviously there's a lot that is being said. I've had a lot to say. There's a lot of other people that are saying things about Henry County, rightly or wrongly, the sheriff's department, the county as a whole. But when you're out talking to the citizens of Henry County, what is the one thing that the majority of the people, everyone's got something, but what is the one main thing that you're hearing that the citizens of Henry County want changed or is looking to improve moving forward?
The biggest thing that people know and they are doing their research on are the lawsuits.
Okay.
The lawsuits and tort claims. And I tell them, I don't know that there's a sheriff in Indiana that hasn't had to go through some sort of lawsuit. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But I think some of those can be avoided. But that's kind of one of those things. It happens to everybody. The other thing is, they also want somebody that's approachable. I've heard that on a couple of occasions, and I work for Sheriff Sproles. I don't know that that he's not approachable. I don't see him out in public. I've never had a problem approaching him, but that
Sure.
That's me. That's is one of his deputies. So
Sure.
but the lawsuits and obviously now the insurance is a big issue for sure. But that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I mean, you could technically retire now at this point. You've got your time in.
Mhm.
You've been there for a while. You've never been anywhere else, right? It's always been Henry County.
My entire career with Henry County.
So you've been there for a while. I mean, and you're 100% right. And I try to tell people that. And the sheriff is right. It doesn't matter what you go out and do something dumb tomorrow. God forbid, if I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But you go do it, and you're all by yourself. And you do it to me and I sue you, he's also going to be named because that's just the way it goes. So that just happens, so some of the suits might be legitimate. Some of them for him and some of them might not be. That's just what happens when you're at the top of the pile. That being said, I guess just the question is, somebody who's been in Henry County at that department for the whole of your career, have you ever seen it been like this before?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
I've never seen it like this.
Okay.
Always before it was, we were getting sued because of the jail conditions.
Yeah.
And the old jail. And probably rightfully so. I mean, there was, that old jail was, that place is a mess. But we got a brand new facility, and, I think our guys take pride in that, and as they should, but it's not coming from jail conditions anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And just my last question to you, and then I'll let you have the last word on your way out. Kind of combining a question from two different people in the audience that's watching. There have been a couple people from the department that have made it seem like, listen, I've been on a bunch of different sides of the courtroom in different capacities, all kinds of different capacities. My dad used to say, it doesn't matter who you are, there's never a good day in court.
Yep.
And that's probably true. I had an attorney one time that said, if everybody goes away mad, chances are the right thing occurred.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like,
there's probably some truth to that.
that's probably true. So obviously it's America. Anybody can sue anybody for anything. I know.
Yep.
I'm not asking you to comment on any of these cases because, you know, we're not there and that's not the appropriate time. But
Right.
there's been some talk that there are people on the department, within the department, that are making allegations or the claim that they feel like maybe these are not as warranted, but that it's like for some reason the department's being targeted. Do you think that and I'm not asking you to speak for the overall department, but do you think that people think that? Do you think that's happening, or do you think that that's not happening? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing I will tell you is the people in that are incarcerated, they have nothing but time to sit there and talk to each other. Now, are some of them legit? Yeah, I mean, because we're not. I would say they're. I won't give percentages, but you know, I'm sure there's a fair amount of them that are legit, and then there's a fair amount of them, probably more so, that's not. As far as being targeted, I don't know that I can answer that question, Chris. I don't.
Sure.
I don't know that. I don't know that targeted is the right word.
That's fair. I mean, I think what you're saying, I think that what you just said there, I think that's a legitimate answer.
Yeah.
Well, very good. So, I guess just here at the end, tell people why they should go out and vote for you tomorrow, Saturday, Monday, or Tuesday.
You know, I would say to everybody, you know, if just vote, just get out and vote, exercise your right to vote. You know, for me, I believe that I bring something to the department. You know, I've have experience in a lot of different departments within the department. You know, I've whether it be K9 or SWAT or you know, the Drug Task Force. There's you know, you have to have that experience in order to know what those guys need to better do their job. And, you know, and for me, I have that experience in each one of those categories. You know, I've managed budgets being the operation pullover coordinator. And when you work with federal money, you have to stay within that budget or they take the money from you, and you have to use the money or they take it from you next time. So, you know, I have experience in all those realms. You know, there's a lot of ideas and things that I have that I would like to bring back to the department. Some things that going forward that I think is going to make the department better. And, you know, I look forward to doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on and talking with us. You know, I always tell people, first of all, in politics, you're going to almost immediately piss off 50% of the population. You know,
Yeah.
and maybe that's not so
Yeah.
true in Henry County because tends to be a more Republican county. But but then also as a police officer, you know, you're going to have people that just don't like it just because,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
It's the nature of the business.
Yes, it is what it is. I'll say you've always been cool with me.
Absolutely.
We've always been cool. I appreciate talking to you anytime we've had interactions. You've always been really cool, and I appreciate that. And I wish you luck as we do all the candidates. You're welcome back on here anytime, whether it's political or if you got something to say or you want to get information out. Obviously, if you make it through this election on Tuesday, we'll have you back in the fall because you will have an opponent in the fall one way or the other. So we'll do that, and we wish you luck, and we'll see what happens.
Chris, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you bringing me on.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much. Be safe, and we'll talk to you again.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
You too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Captain Jason Williams from the Henry County Sheriff's Department. His Facebook page was popped up there. Kate put it in the comments, and concerned citizen, you're nuts. I appreciate him coming on and chatting with us. And that does it for the Randolph County Sheriff's candidates on the Republican side. I hate that we could not.
Henry County, you did it again.
I did it again. I know. You know why?
Sheriff candidates.
I do not know why. You know what? I keep doing that because I'll tell you, Jason reminds me of Art Moisner. They don't look alike. They seem different. They got different personalities. But for some unknown reason in my mind, every time that I talk or look at or think about Jason in any way, for some unknown reason, I draw a parallel to Art Moisner. And Art Moisner is the sheriff, the outgoing sheriff of Randolph County. And so I've never had that problem with any other person, but I've written it down on paperwork in here and had to scratch it out and redo it. And so I apologize to Jason. Maybe I apologize to Art. I don't know. Apologize to both of them. I'm sure they know each other. They're both good guys. But that's the reason I keep saying Randolph County. I mean Henry County. I got to get that in my mind. Anyways, I really wish that John would have came on. What we think of each other aside, I think that he has an obligation to attempt to speak with all of the voters as possible, to meet those people where they are. And we have a large percentage of people from Henry County that watch the program. For however weird he is, I wish Randy would have came on and said whatever. And Randy wasn't going to come on because Randy does not want to tell anybody. I'm going to narrow it down to what the hell his background really is. He's got a time machine or something in his house because he's lived 5 or 6 lives in the last 20 years. And so that's the reason Randy's not going to come down. Yeah, I did piss Randy off last night because he keeps telling me that he's going to sue me along with everybody else. I feel honored because he's suing half of the county in Henry County about that again. And I asked him at that event last night. I was like, "Hey, you have my pay? I'm here. You want to serve me?" But he didn't apparently want to serve me. So he told me I'm going to get served. I'm waiting. We'll see what happens. Okay. Moving on from there. That was the candidate interview. Just briefly, I do want to talk about this situation with Ridenauer. Just briefly before we move on to the fire department situation. Look, there's no way to say that. I mean, this sucks. I don't care if this were Ridenauer or if this was me or God forbid anybody else, a good friend of mine, a family member, an enemy. I don't wish cancer on anybody. This is just a horribly sad situation. As I stated, and I've said this now a couple of times because of the situation we've kind of been put in, a source at City Hall told me back in October. I've known this since October. And I made mention of it when I heard about it. I made mention to my grandparents. To ask them for prayer, to say, hey, I'm hearing that the mayor's sick, and my grandparents are religious, and I said that you might consider praying for him, and they did. And so I think I may have mentioned something to Kate. I can't remember if I did or not. Yeah, Kate. I think I did. I think I mentioned something to Kate, but I didn't post about it because I didn't think that it was anyone's business, and it wasn't. It isn't anybody's business. I did think in my mind, like, if he's going to be off work, like, they're going to have to talk about this at some point, but I just assumed he would. And I was pretty much told that, hey, he's not going to take any time off work. This is going to be, I was told it was prostate cancer, and it was very slow moving, and that it was not going to be any issue. And I thought, okay, good. That's good news. I'm glad for that. I would not ever use that as a political tool. I'm not using it as a political tool now. I just absolutely hate it. But then a couple weeks ago, when all the hubbub about the water occurred, somebody, not me, some person, and there are people out there that know who this is, because I think, I'm not 100% sure about this or not, but I'm pretty certain that if you have a Facebook page like Delaware County Awareness or the Political Spotlight, and somebody comes on there anonymously, that the admins of the page can see who it is. I'm pretty certain that they can see. So somebody out there knows who posted that. And the post that person made was just a very strange, weird, flippant post. They were talking about Amber Green, and they were knocking Amber for Amber's behavior, rightfully so. I mean, Amber is and has. I mean, she's really quieted down, but she's been out of line. And is, not been, in my opinion, not serving the city of Muncie as a communications director. Here's the deal. She's doing all of this stuff on her personal page. She's got a First Amendment right, yada, yada, yada. But when you're in a position such as Amber, and you're not serving the position, you're not serving yourself, you're not serving the mission, you're not serving the boss, you got to ask yourself what you're doing. You're not serving the citizens of Muncie. You're pissing them all off. You're calling them all fat and stupid, and you're letting everybody know that you look down on them and that you think that you're better than them. And you're out here and people are questioning you about these moral issues, and there's just all these issues, and you're spitting in their eye. It's just absolutely insane that there's no self awareness there. And so she was going crazy. Well, this person had posted and made that post that said, I don't even know what the exact post was, but I shared it, and people got mad at me, and I understand. But I'll tell you, Rob Kendall was talking on his show today about the DCS, the state Indiana DCS guy that Braun just put into a new position in the government, made him this like the special assistant to the mayor or to the governor kind of thing. And before that, he had been the DCS person. And why this came to be a big thing was, as the head of DCS, he took off 3 months at the beginning of the year. And he just disappeared, and he didn't tell anybody. And they kept saying, oh, it's a medical thing. It's a medical thing. It's a medical thing. Well, now basically what's happening is the people that are coming out and talking about this are saying this wasn't a mental illness, or excuse me, this wasn't a physical illness. it was a mental issue. He kind of had a meltdown of some kind. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know anything about that. Whatever the situation that Adam Krupp had, I hope and pray that he gets it taken care of. Normally you don't treat cancer in 3 months. Normally the FBI don't investigate cases in 2 months and call you on the phone. These are things that just don't happen. You know what I mean? So I don't think that Krupp had like cancer or some kind of physical illness. I do think it was kind of more a mental issue. And he was gone, and they didn't want to answer anything. And people's like, well, that's it, whatever. And Rob made a really good point today. Rob said, when he was on the radio program and the radio program sidelined him and everybody was like, where are you at? Where are you at? Like, Rob is getting paid. Rob pays his bills. It's not public money. Rob had no obligation to tell anybody anything. But almost instantly, Rob started making videos in his bedroom saying, hey, here I am. It's not me, it's them. And he started telling people. And basically, if you're the stock person at Walmart and you get ill and you are sidelined, you don't owe anybody any explanation. If you're the store manager at Walmart South, you don't owe anybody anything. If you're the president of Ball State University and you have a medical issue, you really don't owe anybody anything. If you're the mayor of a city, if you're the head of a department of child and family services for the state of Indiana, and you're overseeing, millions and millions and millions of dollars in a budget, it sucks. But yeah, people are going to want to know. And talking about cancer, talking about illness, it's never pleasant. It's not pleasant if it's me. It's not pleasant if it's you. It's not pleasant if it's a friend or a family member. It's not pleasant if it's an enemy. But it doesn't mean that there's not a need to know specifically in these positions. And so while it is a delicate subject to talk about, and I probably could have done it different a couple days ago, a week ago when I first announced it after that person did it, I made a very public question because I wanted people to know. Bottom line, if Ridenour is okay and he's going to be treated and he's going to be missing a couple days or a week here or a week there, no biggie. But if he's going to be out of the office for 2 or 3 or more weeks, we kind of got to know that. If he was working at the bank, nobody would ever know. That would be between him and his bosses, and Christopher Bilbrey wouldn't have a right to say anything. And, that's just the way. But being a mayor of a city, it needed to be said. And so I don't know if he planned this all the time. I don't know if it's because it came out publicly. I do know that it's not a political football. I didn't want to know because I wanted to make political hay about it. I feel bad about it. My thoughts and my prayers are with the man, his family, his doctors, everybody involved. I wish him a speedy recovery. I don't know if I agree with that, Stumblefoot. I don't think prostate cancer is always a death sentence. I think you're thinking about the other, pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer is almost always a death sentence. Prostate cancer is pretty treatable. Prostate cancer is pretty treatable, especially if it's caught early and if it's treated early. Well, I want to let you hear this. I want to let you hear this statement from the mayor. This is what the mayor had to say about this himself, and we'll let you hear this, and then I will finish up my statement, and we'll move on to the Muncie Fire Department, because, in my opinion, that is by far the bigger issue. So give me 1 second here, and I will get this shared.
Well, I wanted to do this video today to kind of share the situation that we're about to face. I say we as City of Muncie, myself. So I've received some challenging news, we'll just call it that. I knew back in October that we had, over this past summer, I had some numbers that needed to be looked at. And in October, they did a biopsy and it came back. It was kind of okay, but they wanted to do another one 6 months later. Well, we did that one just a couple of weeks ago, and that has created a situation where there's a lot more urgency now. So I'm about to miss 6 weeks of work sometime in the next 30, 40 days or so, as soon as that can get scheduled. It's a cancer. So it's prostate cancer, but it has moved from the slow moving kind to a faster moving kind. So we're going to have a surgery to remove it. And that will be the attempt will be to take that out so that it doesn't expand to other organs inside my body. And it's going to cause me to miss about 6 weeks of work. And I just kind of want to go over, number one, I want people to know that that's what's going on. But number two, I just want to make sure people can understand how the city will operate, what will happen, and what we have in place to make sure that that goes smoothly. And I knew you wanted to ask me some things. So I just felt like this would be the time to share that situation that is happening. And I look forward to it getting over with. I'm not excited about having a surgery, but I am looking forward to a fast completion to this.
Okay, I completely understand. And obviously our thoughts and prayers are with you as your employees, but there are some questions that I think we should answer so the community can understand what this 6 weeks and this healing process is going to look like. So what would you say to residents of Muncie that may be concerned as you're going to be out for 6 weeks, and what is it going to look like here at City Hall while the rest of the team and department heads work without you?
Well, fortunately, I feel like we've got some pretty strong departments, and I'm very comfortable with the leadership of each of those teams. I will not be available for a couple weeks, and I might be available to some of them. I will not be coming into the office, but I could be available to help. But I really think that the team is put together and is pretty strong, knows what its mission is. Each of the different departments knows what they need to accomplish. And I honestly don't feel like they need me to know what decisions to make. If they have a question, they'll be able to reach out to me during segments of that. But I have great confidence, and I hope the city will have great confidence that they know what they're doing in their particular departments.
What keeps you motivated to stay engaged? I can imagine that this is probably a stressful time, and the city is not your only concern. You have a family as well. So what keeps you motivated to continue focusing on being Mayor Dan?
Well, number one, I love this city, and I know a lot of good things are in place. We've, through all the different teams that we have, the different departments, I feel like we've made some significant progress. And I want to make sure, what excites me is knowing that we've gone from here to where I feel like we're here, and we're headed to there. So I want to be a part of that, obviously. And so I just have to go through these 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks, and then I will be excited to come back, believe me. I love work. I don't typically take off. I think since I've been here as mayor, I've taken a 1 full week vacation. I take a Friday, or I might take a Monday, but there's only one time in my 6.5 years that I took more than that. More than 1 week, that I took a full week together. So it'll be a little different around here, but probably be most different from me than anyone else.
I would definitely agree with that. So what do you want the people of Muncie to understand about what you're going through? If you could add a little bit of a personal touch to this, what do you want everyone
I would say I am a man of strong faith, and so I would take and accept, please, any prayers that you have. This is not something that I think the procedure's at risk. The major risk is if it progresses so fast before we get it removed that it gets into other organs. So I would take prayers more than anything. Just think about me and family.
Okay. So you said that you would be excited to come back, which I 100% believe. So what are you most excited about in the coming months? And coming back to work can't be your answer. What are you excited about for Muncie?
Well, I know what's coming in the mall area. A lot of that is going on. It's a private developer with private information, but they do share some things that they are working on. They are super excited with the companies and the interested parties. So I would be excited to see that moving forward, because I think by the time I get back, it will be well in the process of that mall being transformed and torn down. So that will be exciting. And I also think it'll be fun to watch a couple new subdivisions moving forward, a building going up next door, 34 homes in the Old West End. I think there's a lot of exciting things and that will be going on, including Columbus Avenue.
Yeah, which is open.
Which is open now.
All right. Well, I think to close this up, what message would you like to leave with residents?
Well, again, this should not be a life-threatening, because we did. And here's the thing. I just hope that everybody has a physician. They do a regular physical. And when you have that physical, follow through. If a number is not good, and this is what happened to me in August, a number wasn't good. It's called a PSA. It had jumped. It had always been in the ones, and it jumped to 14. My physician didn't like that, and then ordered a number of tests. I did all those tests, and we ended up doing the biopsy, and they said there's something's not right, but we don't think it's fast moving. Let's order another biopsy. And so now we're 6 months down the road, and it certainly is fast moving. So had I not taken the steps to have a physical, and so I just ask people to please get your physical and then follow through with what your physician, they're the experts, follow through with what they recommend and do what's good. Your family wants you around, your coworkers want you around, the public wants you around, your neighbors want you, but you've got to take those steps. And for me, I think the fact that I always get my annual physical is one of the positives, and I hope that others will model that.
Anything else?
I think I'm good. I'm not looking forward to the procedure, but I am looking forward to getting past it. And I hope and pray that's where we'll be.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Hate it for Dan. Hate it for his family. Hate it for his friends. Hate it. I mean, it's not a good thing. There's nothing good to say about it. And I'm not going to do the whole political thing tonight. I'm not going to say anything. We'll just let it be what it is. But I will tell you, this is kind of a crazy side to not having a deputy mayor, not having a one-point person who can come in times of this, when, come in a clutch when something like this is happening. We never truly got an understanding of who will be leading the department. I definitely agree. I don't know who said it, but City Hall is going to be like a ghost town for the next several weeks, I guess, because it will, whenever the mayor is gone now, people are out of there. And that was a very strange way to do that. like to have a conversation about something that you both already know, the whole conversation. They were acting there. They were acting, you know what I mean? It was very strange, very strange. My thoughts and prayers are with Dan. And you know, I hope everything works out the best for him. I hope they get it early, and Dustin Clark better, by God, not be in charge. Really quick before we move off Riding Hour, I do want to also let everybody know today's the 29th. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, Thursday, is the official deadline for Prairie Creek. So if there are people that have campers or gear or anything out at the North Shore, tomorrow is the deadline. And as of 2 days ago, yesterday, 3 days ago, there were still like 10 or so campers out there. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it is what it is. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see what goes on. I will go out there tomorrow at some point, and I will take some pictures and verify how many things are left there about 5 or 6 o'clock. So that'll be that. Yeah, listen, Edgel has been saying for the last couple weeks that she has big dirt. She has big dirt. And let's hear it. Let's hear it. I want to hear it. Let's see what this is. I don't know. I'm like everybody else. I'm like everybody else. Let's hear what that is. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know what we're waiting on. I mean, listen, I know there's times you got to wait for stuff and you got to verify, but you know, I'm excited. I'm really excited to find out if I knew what it was before she releases it. Is it really big? Is it, you know, where is it on the grand scheme of things? That's what I'm waiting to see. So it'll be fun. All right. Now, I'm moving on to the other big topic. This Troy Delaney stuff. I want to start by saying it's always so funny to me It's always so funny to me when people let me know things and what they let me know and how they let me know it. And you can always tell where people's mindset is and everything. So I start getting these people texting me. I don't know if it was yesterday, last night into early morning. And these people are messaging me saying things like, let me find one of them here. Yeah. Right here. Here's one. Brenna Dowden. And listen, I don't out people who are sources, but when you come to me and you say, are we going to do a podcast on the real person you've been protecting and standing up for? ? That's what her face looked like when she was texting it. I guarantee you. It was like this. And in her head, this is what it sounded like. Are we going to do a podcast and talk about the person that you're really protecting? That's what she sounded like in her head. I guarantee it. And I don't even know who this person is. I got to look and see who this person is. Let me go and see who this person is. She's probably married to a fireman. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see this person. So really quickly, Brenna Dowden. This is what it was like. I want to do it again. She picked up her phone. She was texting with both thumbs 1,000 miles a minute. Are we going to do a podcast on the person that you're really protecting? That's what she looked like and sounded like. I guarantee it. All right. I'm like, what are we talking about? What do you mean? Are you going to podcast with me? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Political Spotlight with my co-host, Brenna Dowden. Where are you, Brenna? I don't know who this woman is. What do you mean for the person I'm protecting? Do you mean Troy Delaney, who literally every chance I've got, I've said the dude is an idiot? He can't get out of his own way? I don't like Troy Delaney? Who has ever heard me say, boy, Troy Delaney, he's a swell guy. I'm protecting him. Listen, for the people that have a hard time having adult thoughts, there are a lot of good and honorable and well-trained and honest public servant firefighters, men and women, first responders, EMS, EMT, ABC, you and me, whatever they are, whoever they are, whatever their training is, there are a lot of good people on the Muncie City Fire Department. And I like a lot of them, and I respect a lot of them. On all three shifts, on all three turns, up and down the rank and file. Okay, there are a lot of good people. There are also a lot of idiot assholes. Okay, they're just dumb, they're lazy, and they're idiots. Okay, they're there for a paycheck. They're there to smash through whole bunches of women or whatever they're doing. Okay. All right. Look, Ryan Reese says, not Brennan. He wasn't even around when the Delaney cheating scandal. He has no idea what he's. It's not Brennan. It's his girlfriend. Brennan. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Brennan. Brennan is Brennan the guy?
Apparently, Brennan's a guy.
Oh.
Which makes your voice and your caricature even more funny.
No. Looking at this guy, it changes. I got to go back. And do it. I thought Brennan was the woman. I am so bad. So I'm so sorry. Whatever your name is. This is what I was like. Are we going to do a podcast about weightlifting? I mean, about who you're really protecting on the fire department? Has anybody got a hose I could drag? That's what the impression was like, okay? So, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know anything about him. He's probably a good guy. I see just in this text alone that he's a wannabe. He wants to be in with the crowd, and he really wants to. I'm going to stick it to Bilbrey. We're going to teach him something. Listen, Brennan, dude, I don't know you. Troy Delaney's an idiot. I'm not a big fan. They are doing things that are wrong to him, though. And let me tell you, Mr. Brennan, if they can and will screw over someone like Troy Delaney, bro, you ain't got a chance. Okay? They will roll right over you whenever they need to, as soon as they will. Okay? Absolutely, 1,000%, they will do it. All right? He probably did like the first impression. Either one, whichever one it sounds, whichever one, yes, the turtle. Kierstar. Yes, let me work on it, Jack, and I will do that. Okay. So every time I've talked about this deal, I have said there are a lot of things I don't like about Troy Delaney, but Muncie screwed this up. And now let me tell you, I'm going to be real honest, everybody out here in TV land. I have heard about this latest allegation for a while now. This is not new. Okay? This is not new. So when everybody's like, oh, look, Troy did it again. And listen, I will be honest, for Troy Delaney, bro, please, for the love of God, for your family out there, get out of your own way. You gotta stop. You just have to stop. Quit trying to teach people stuff. Quit trying to teach people how to park. Quit trying to teach people what the blood pressure numbers are. Just live your life and leave everybody alone. Fight the fight. Do the thing. Because you are making it easy for these people. Okay? I don't know if the fire department likes that they got beat or not got beat or whatever, but the bottom line is they tried to beat Troy Delaney, and people outside of the sphere of Muncie, outside of the Muncie Fire Department, outside of the City Hall, people outside of Delaney's sphere of influence said, yeah, he may have crossed over the line a little bit. What he did was stupid. We're going to smack him on the hand, but you guys took it too far, and there's a lot of people in the fire department that have perjured themselves. Listen, they said there are people that perjured themselves. Okay? A lot of people who testified who were supposed to be upstanding firemen perjured themselves. That is a big problem. And judges, various different rulings, and judges and courts made the determination that Troy needed to go back to work. Troy needs to go back to work. And Muncie needs to pay him. Boom, bang, pow. That's it. All right. So let's talk about this new situation from Channel 13 yesterday. Controversial Muncie firefighter faces new claims of misconduct. What did he do now? And this time, it's captured on video. Dun, dun, dun. This video could play an important role in determining whether the city of Muncie terminates Troy Delaney's employment or not. So let me say, and for the city of Muncie, let me warn you, when you make a determination on this situation, you better watch more than the 1.5 minute long video. Okay? Just letting you know. You better watch more than the 1.5 minute pared down video. And I want people to really think about this, okay? A Muncie firefighter at the center of a cheating controversy, that's so weird. You know, he's kind of more at the edge and he's like walking out of it because that's basically over. but they've got to sell newspapers and get clicks, right? It is what it is. All right, we all understand how it works. The Muncie firefighter Troy Delaney, at the middle of this cheating controversy, recently won victory in court that could help him get his job back. But Channel 13 Investigates has learned that firefighter is now facing entirely new allegations that could instead get him fired. The incidents that prompted the new complaints against Troy Delaney were both captured on video, and that video could play an important role in determining whether the city of Muncie terminates his employment. Cheating allegations investigated, confirmed, and later overturned. I mean, that's all we need. Like, why are we even rehashing this? We've all are sick to death of it. Delaney has not reported to work in the Muncie Fire Department for nearly 3 years, ever since he was accused of helping the fellow firefighters and EMTs cheat on their certification exams. The Indiana Department of Homeland Security investigated the claims, and they found them to be credible. Following the state investigation, several Muncie EMTs were placed on probation and required to where did that go? And were required to retake their exams. 2 separate boards then revoked all of Delaney's professional firefighters and EMT certifications. The harshest penalty permitted under state law, state regulations, which prompted the city of Muncie to switch Delaney's employment status from paid leave to unpaid leave. But when the longtime firefighter appealed, an administrative law judge ruled in his favor. That's judge number 1. Even though the administrative law judge, Carrie Ingram, found Delaney engaged in immoral conduct that was inconsistent with what's right and honest, because he did text 2 students or something like that, she did determine that none of Delaney's actions constituted fraud or material deception. Ingram ruled that the state therefore overstepped its authority and recommended that the Indiana Department of Homeland Security reinstate Delaney's credentials. Okay? But Muncie Fire Department and the Homeland Security, they didn't like that. They didn't like that the judge made that determination. Because of that, the department's EMT board complied with the recommendation, reinstating Delaney's EMT board. Oh no, excuse me. Because of the judge's rulings, the department's EMT board complied with the recommendation, reinstating Delaney's EMT certifications. But when the IDHS, the Department of Homeland Security's Board of Firefighting Personnel Standards and Education, ignored the judge's suggestion and went against and voted to revoke his firefighting certifications, Delaney filed another appeal. This time, the Marion County Superior Court Judge Clayton Graham ordered the state to comply. You don't have a choice. You have to comply. And that's the last thing that we talked about in March. That judge reversed the previous revocation order, insisting that the Indiana Department of Homeland Security immediately reinstate all of Delaney's firefighting certifications and expunge any record of his revocations or suspensions. Listen, that's not Christopher Bilbrey. That's not the political spotlight. I don't care if Troy Delaney has a job or not. He doesn't pay my bills. He's not feeding me. We don't go on vacation. I don't care if the dude's got a job or not. What I do care about is if the city of Muncie is attempting to punish people the right way or the wrong way. And if we're going out of every window doing every possible thing we can to fire Delaney, I think that there's a lot more people in a lot more different departments that need fired for the actual shit that they're doing wrong. Let's talk about that, okay? All right, let's continue going on here. So the judge in March in the actual courtroom in Marion County Superior Court stated the state needed to do it now and expunge all this shit. Delaney's attorney said the judge's order amounted to a total victory for his client. Okay. And Delaney's attorney is Chris Jeter. He's also a state representative. All right. Delaney's attorney says the judge's order amounts to a total victory for his client. The administrative law judge made it pretty clear that even though Delaney may have stepped across the line and sent a text or two that he shouldn't have sent, his intention was never to cheat, attorney Chris Jeter said. The judge agreed that the administrative law judge was thorough and right, which my hope is will let Troy Delaney get back to work. Jeter told Channel 13 News that he believes the city of Muncie should now put the controversy aside and allow Delaney to return to the firehouse where he has served for nearly 20 years as a firefighter before his suspension. We hope that they will, and I think that they should. The city of Muncie is safer when he's a firefighter, Jeter said. But whether the city will allow Delaney to return to his job is still in question, especially in light of new allegations that he engaged in unprofessional conduct. Now, I want to stop here for just 1 second and say this. Again, I don't care if Delaney's working or not. I think he's a weirdo. I'm not a fan. I think the city tried to screw him over. They did not want him to be the battalion chief, and they had to do anything and everything they could. And the problem is Delaney can't get out of his own damn way, and he does enough weird shit that he makes it easy for them to pick up things to go after him for. The problem is they don't do it the right way, or the things they go after him for are piddly stupid things, and they lie and they cheat and they try to do it in nonsensical ways, and you can't do it. You have to cross your T's and dot your I's. It's not hard to fire somebody. You just got to do it the right way, and so far they've not done it the right way. And the thing is, and the problem is, and I've talked to several people about this, I've said it does not matter what goes on in court. It does not matter what they saying. When Muncie wants to screw with you, they will find a way to screw with you. And they will keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it. That's the whole thing. They'll try to freeze you out. It's just like fighting against me, getting all these records and fighting against, they don't like that. So they try to get all these things to stop you. And it doesn't matter who's in charge. It doesn't matter if it's Republicans. It doesn't matter if it's Democrats. It doesn't matter if they're good people in the council or bad people in the council. It doesn't matter if the police department's good or the fire department's good or the police department's bad or the fire department's bad. The same shit, different day. It always happens. Troy is on an uphill battle here. That's just the way that it is. Last summer, now listen to this. Listen to what this says. New complaint includes dash cam video. The new complaint from last summer. What? So is this a new complaint? Or did this happen last summer? Let me tell you, I heard it happen last summer. I knew about this before it appeared in the paper. Okay? Last summer, as Troy Delaney waited to learn whether the state regulators would reinstate his firefighter credentials, he got a job as an EMT with Heartland Ambulance Service. Okay, listen to this. Not long after he started that job, he was partnered with a young new EMT. Okay, I'm going to set this up. Delaney wants the people that he's working with to be the best they can be. You know, when you're a cop and you're riding around, you don't want your partner to be a dumbass. You don't want to worry whether your partner has your back. You want your partner to be the best they can be. Same thing works with firemen and EMTs. You don't want the person that's driving the bus to be a complete idiot. And Delaney has been somebody that's taught people for years and years and years. So he's trying to help this person. Now, Delaney goes overboard and gets in his own way and causes nonsense to happen. And can't control himself sometimes and doesn't realize that he needs to cool his jets, but it is what it is, okay? So not long after he started this job at Heartland Ambulance Service, he's riding around with a newbie, one of his coworkers, and it's alleged by this woman that Delaney allegedly threatened her and he conducted unprofessional conduct. The coworker, who asked Channel 13 News not to identify her because she fears for her safety, which is just complete ignorance, okay, said Delaney learned that she was preparing for an upcoming EMT exam. So Delaney learned that she is preparing for an exam. And he said he would help her out. He would help her study for the test. She said in the process, Delaney became angry and threatened to choke her when she did not answer a question correctly. I tried to not look scared, but I was shaking inside. I was so terrified, the coworker told Channel 13 Investigates. I just couldn't believe something like this was happening. He was acting so unprofessional and so aggressive and totally unprovoked. I did not know what he was going to do. Ooh. The conduct was captured on a video by the ambulance dashcam surveillance system as two Heartland ambulance employees were driving to an assignment in October. So this happened in October, and we're just now hearing about it? Ask yourself why that is. Channel 13 Investigates obtained a copy of the video through the State Open Records Act. Okay? Now, my question is, well, wait for the last summer, because there's two things here, okay? There's two things, all right? So in October, they're riding around and he's going to help her, all right? Now, I got to say this. I don't know who edited this tape. I don't know if Channel 13 edited the tape, or I don't know if the person who gave the tape to Channel 13 edited it. But I'm going to find out, because I'm going to also issue a records request, and I'm going to look for this tape as well, and we will play the entire tape. We are not going to play an edited version of the tape. That is horseshit. We don't do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to play everything that we can possibly get to you. Okay? That's very important. All right? I want people to know that, because playing edited tape is nonsensical. Okay? The fact that anybody would do that is to me is just, it's not like, I don't consider myself a journalist, but I don't consider what they're doing here to be journalism either, because they are either editing the tape or they are playing an edited tape, and none of that is okay. All right, let's watch this tape and we'll talk about it. Okay.
A Muncie firefighter at the center of controversy won a bid big victory in court. This is a victory that could lead to him getting his job back. But as 13 Investigates has learned, that firefighter is now facing entirely new allegations that could instead get him fired. Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel found the recent incidents were captured on video.
Inside the Muncie Fire Department, 3 years of controversy ever since Captain Troy Delaney was accused of helping fellow firefighters and EMTs cheat on their certification exams. After investigating, the Indiana Department of Homeland Security revoked his professional certification.
Records request. We'll get back to that in a second. Stand by. It won't be to Heartland. I'll explain to you in a minute.
And the city of Muncie placed Delaney on unpaid leave.
I want to feel impactful in my community.
But when the firefighter appealed, an administrative law judge ruled in his favor. Even though the judge found Delaney engaged in immoral conduct that was inconsistent with what is right and honest, she said none of Delaney's actions constituted fraud or material deception. She ruled the state overstepped its authority and must reinstate Delaney's credentials. And last month, a Superior Court judge agreed.
Which my hope is will allow Troy Delaney to get back to work.
Chris Jeter is Delaney's attorney. Should the city of Muncie reinstate Troy Delaney and hire him back again?
We hope that they will, and I think that they should. City of Muncie's safer when he's a firefighter.
But whether the city will reinstate Delaney is still in question, especially in light of new allegations that he engaged in unprofessional conduct.
You're not that far off. I'm telling you, you're not that far off, but you're not paying attention.
This is video obtained by 13 Investigates showing Delaney 6 months ago after he got an EMT job with a local ambulance service. We have blurred the face of the EMT he was working with to protect her identity.
You know the material. You don't know the wording. You know what I mean?
That coworker tells 13 News Delaney wanted to help her study for an upcoming EMT exam, and in the process, threatened to choke and kill her when she did not answer a question correctly.
What's diaphoretic mean?
Diaphoretic means they're dehydrated.
Nope. What's diaphoretic mean? I'm going to be nice to you when I study with you. I'm just serious.
No, I'm trying to. I know
I'm just telling you, don't tell me what you know. Show me what you know. And don't think I'll be nice because I'm not. What does diaphoretic mean? Now. Look at my hands now. So I'm going to choke you.
You might want to cool your jets before I turn the ambulance back around.
Where you turn the ambulance around and go to? Where you going?
We'll go back to the station. I'll walk off.
You'll be dead before you get there.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. Squeeze tight. What does diaphoretic mean?
Okay, you need to cool your jets, please. You're crossing a boundary.
Oh, I didn't realize I was crossing a boundary. I'm sorry. I was joking.
After watching this video, state regulators punished Delaney again with a new 2-month suspension.
I think the Department of Homeland Security has it out for this guy, and I think they've been looking for multiple ways to exact punishment on him for whatever reason.
It looks in that video that he is very threatening to a coworker.
I saw a guy who's very animated. Anybody who knows Troy knows he speaks very animated. He's really into particular stuff related to public safety and certifications and firefighting.
So are you suggesting that there was nothing wrong with his behavior?
That's what I'm suggesting, yes. I'm suggesting there's more to the story than that.
And I would love to better understand what is the additional context for this story that we should know.
I'm going to tell you
like
right
I said,
now.
I think there were additional audio files that went back before and after.
That say what?
Well, I don't know, because we weren't able to acquire them. We resolved the case before we acquired those.
Delaney's attorney claims there might be evidence showing more than what you see here.
What does diaphoretic mean? Now.
But he told 13 News he has no proof that evidence actually exists. And what happened in the ambulance? Well, that's
exactly
only
right,
that has
concerned
added
citizen.
Scrutiny to Troy Delaney. The longtime firefighter is also
right.
facing a criminal.
We're pausing that right there. We're going to come back to this video here in a minute. Okay? We'll come back to that video in just 1 second. So, listen. Troy's nuts. He's nuts. Troy is nuts. And I mean that in the way that he has a hard time getting out of his own damn way. Troy needed to say, oh, you're studying for your exam? I wish you luck. Good luck. And that needed to be it. Okay? That needed to be it. Quit trying to help these people because you're having a problem. Because here's the deal. First and foremost, this lady, pretty quickly after this, no longer worked at Heartland Ambulance. Okay? There's allegations that maybe she made other complaints on other people and all this other bullshit going on. Things just were not happening with her. She didn't have the right mindset for what was going on in the first responder public service type of field. All right. They had apparently had some kind of a call, or she had kind of a call where a patient or someone who was having this, that was diaphoretic, was having some kind of a reaction and was going crazy. And Troy was attempting to elicit that because she wasn't getting the word. So for those that don't know, diaphoretic means profuse sweating. And there's normally another serious underlying reason, an underlying reason for why someone would be diaphoretic. They're having some kind of an issue or whatever. Okay, so that's very important. The video does not show the before and after. And from what it sounds like with Channel 13, they only got the edited version. So first of all, I want to know where they got that from, because Eric is right. They shouldn't have been able to send that to Heartland and Heartland specifically give it over. Now, if Heartland is willing to give that over, that's cool. I'm going to reach out to Heartland and find out if they will provide me with the full video. I want them to. I don't know if they will. They probably won't. However, this video also went to court. And I don't know what exactly it played out in court, but I know that a video went to court. And I think that maybe they asked the court for it. I'm also going to reach the court. And let me explain to you what I mean it went to court. So this lady got all her panties in a wad and decided she needed to file a restraining order against Troy Delaney. And she wanted to file a complaint and wanted to, wreck his career. And I think there were people at Heartland that were not happy with Troy. Okay. Remember, Heartland and the city used to be connected. Remember? So, the thing is, first and foremost, he was teaching her that a person that's diaphoretic, a diaphoretic person, is signs of low blood sugar, and she missed it. So he was then throwing in altered mental status by being violent, and she still got this wrong. That's why when she says you're crossing a line, he didn't even understand. He's like, "What? Oh, I am. I'm sorry. I was like joking." He wasn't like violent. Someone that's like trying to choke you out. First of all, and I would never put your neck in my hands. Put your neck here. Okay. Kind of that weird shit. All right. She got defensive because she didn't know the answer and got all butthurt. And then she tried to file, complaints on him and do all this crazy shit. Okay. So let's look at this. She files for a restraining order and tries to take him to court and wants a restraining order. And they go to court. And listen to this. When they go to court, the judge rules against her, says you do not get a restraining order. Nothing happened to you here. The court had the video. I don't know that it was watched in open court. Don't know if the judge watched it in chambers. Don't really know about that. But I know the court has the video. And the judge ruled that she was not threatened, that Delaney was not in the wrong, and they made her pay for Delaney's attorneys. Okay? And that's not just Kristopher Bilbrey saying that and, like, oh, you gotta take, what I'm saying and whatever, okay? I want you to, okay, where this was, I have the court order. Where do I have the court order at? Where was the court order sent to? Hold on. Where did you send the order? Give me 1 second. I got to get this court order here. She had to pay his attorneys. Yes. Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to pull this up here. Give me 1 second. Do you not have the actual link? Whatever. I'll use this. That's fine. That's fine. And I don't know why. Channel 13 would block the woman's name out. The woman's name is Tiffany. It's in the files. It's public record. We're not doing that shit here. If you are attempting to fully ruin someone's life, I feel like we should all be on the same page here. It's all public record. It's not who do anything crazy. All right. It is what it is. I'm getting ready to put this court order up here. Give me 1 second. Kate, can you put that in the overlay? Thank you, ma'am. That way I don't have to screw around with that. Okay. So while Kate is working on getting that into the overlay, and you know what really pisses me off here is I have this laptop hooked up to my nonsense.
It's up.
Yeah, I saw it. Thank you. And it's still giving me a bunch of crap here. Give me a second. That should not be giving me nearly as much crap. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we'll put this up here and we'll read this together. Okay, case number 85D01-2510, protective order PO 877. Okay. If any documents below are confidential, after you click the link, you must type your email address for verification before the document displays. In addition, the document link expires 21 days after the date and time sent. You need a copy of the document. Download it immediately. Attorneys can access most cases documents by signing into My Case. Order issued, the court having previously... Now, here we go. Listen. Order issued, the court having previously taken this matter under advisement, finds that the petitioner, okay, Tiffany Miller, failed to meet her burden of proof. The court further finds that the petitioner shall pay $700 in attorney's fees to the respondent's counsel, Sarah E. Van Cleef, within 90 days from today's date, March 6th, 2026. Entry date, March 6th, 2026. File stamp order, March 6th, 2026. View the document link below. Other party e-noticed, NA, other party noticed, Tiffany Miller. Okay. And so that's that. That's a pretty big deal. When a judge, number one, rules against a man, rules in favor of the man against a woman on a protective order, where the woman is alleging that he threatened to kill her, and the judge looks at all of the information in the case and says she failed to meet her burden of proof. By the way, she needs to pay the attorney's fees. And ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't in Delaware County where Troy Delaney might have had some sphere of influence. It happened in Wabash County. They were in Wabash County. Okay? Just completely nuts. No reason why any of this is going on. The EMS board, the people that were involved with this, with his licensing, they did nothing. They said there's no action needs to be taken here. No action needs to be taken here. Okay? So I just want to make sure that people are kind of aware of what's going on here. All right. This happened in October. All right. The decision was made at the end of February, beginning of March. All right. They attempted to make a police report in Wabash, and the state police, with no charges filed, the police wouldn't take a report. The police said, "Nah, this is not really a thing." And it wasn't police officers that knew Troy. He didn't have any sphere of influence. It was in Wabash. These people, Troy was just up there working. He didn't know any, it wasn't that. So the Wabash police wouldn't take a report. The state police wouldn't take a report. He was never prosecuted. He was never charged. All right. The video that we watched, the real video, is 2 hours long. Why are we only seeing a minute and 20 seconds of this video? That tells a story. That tells a serious story there. All right. Judge ruled denying protective order, lying multiple times in affidavit. Because he said she lied. She was ordered to pay court costs, attorney's fees. Another disagreement with another partner. So weeks after this happened, she has another really wild blow up with another person there. Okay. Just absolutely crazy. EMS did not uphold any suspension when they went for this, and they're like, okay, you got this issue again. This has happened and you're in trouble. They were going to suspend him, but then when all this happened, they're like, oh yeah, nothing happened here. Okay. And they gave him everything back. He didn't have to fight for it. It wasn't a big ordeal. They were like, yeah, nothing happened here. So why did this not come out in October? You want me to tell you why this just now came out now? Why did it come out in April? Did it come out in April because the judge just ruled in Delaney's favor in March? Did they not take this to the news to try to ruin this man's life and career, to help him ruin it? Because look, he's responsible for getting himself in this stupid bullshit. He needs to just keep his hands in his mouth to himself, get his job back, or do whatever he's going to do, get his money, and go on his way. And stop interacting with people, I guess. He's got a really hard time, I think, interacting. And he needs to just watch that. But why did they just now do this? It's because this is how the big wheel at Muncie works. Okay? This is how that shit works. They're in a position where they're going to have to shit or get off the pot here. They're going to have to bring him back to work. They're going to have to fight and try to fire him, you know? And listen, Troy's in the wrong. Troy's a dumbass. We're going to talk about this other allegation here, okay? We're going to go back to the Channel 13 story here for a second. I'm going to talk to you about the other issue, and this happened I don't know exactly when this happened. I forget when this happened exactly. There was an incident in which Delaney is facing some scrutiny. This was in Thanksgiving, so this was all about the same time, Thanksgiving of 2025. According to an arrest report submitted by the Yorktown Police, the embattled firefighter, Troy Delaney, got into an altercation inside a gas station and then tried to pull another customer, James Radford, outside by his collar. It started as a disagreement over a parking space outside, and Radford said when he went in to apologize about the disagreement that basically Troy got mad and attacked him. Radford told 13 News that he bumped me with his stomach and knocked me back, and then he used both hands and grabbed me by the shirt and tried to drag me outside. Delaware County Prosecutor's Office charged Delaney with misdemeanor battery after a Yorktown police officer watched the whole altercation play out on surveillance video and determined that the video clearly shows Mr. Delaney acting as the aggressor. The new allegations are important because Delaney is still expected to appear before the Muncie Fire Merit Commission to fight the city's attempts to fire him. In early 2025, the fire department and the city attorney filed a 5-count disciplinary complaint against Delaney in connection with the allegations that he organized a cheating scheme. While some of those allegations were challenged in court, resulting in state punishment and was recently reversed by a judge, the underlying allegation that Delaney engaged in immoral conduct remains intact. Whoa. Delaney is entitled to a hearing before the Muncie Fire Merit Commission, which in my opinion should be happening soonish because we gotta shit or get off the pot with this. Okay, he should have that right to defend himself against the allegations, but that hearing had been on hold while these cases were playing out in court. If a judge had upheld the suspensions of Delaney's professional certifications, terminating the firefighter's employment would have been much easier for the city since he would not have been certified to serve as a professional firefighter in the state of Indiana. But now that case has been finalized and Delaney's certifications have been reinstated. The city, the Merit Commission, and firefighter must decide what to do next. The merit process is currently ongoing, and as required, it remains confidential process. Muncie Fire Chief Dan Burford told Channel 13 News in a prepared statement from the city's attorney, out of respect for that process and everyone involved, we are not able to discuss specific details at this time. The city could choose to drop its misconduct complaint against Delaney and allow him to return to work. But so far, there has been no indication that the city leaders plan to exercise that option. If the city wants to proceed with firing or disciplining Delaney, the city leaders might need to file a revised complaint of misconduct against the firefighter. And if the city attorney chooses that option, the more recent incidents involving the allegations of unprofessional conduct and battery could be included in the city's revised complaint. at stake for the firefighter, whether he returns to work as a captain at the Muncie Fire Department, at stake for the taxpayers, over $100,000 in salary, back pay, and legal costs Delaney could be entitled to if he's reinstated. Sources inside the Muncie Fire Department tell Channel 13 News that city leaders are eager to put the 3-year controversy behind them, so a decision on whether to schedule a merit commission hearing for Delaney is expected within the next few weeks. Now, go back to the fact that Mayor Eidenhower is going to be out of here for a couple weeks. So what's the deal here? You know what I mean? Concerned citizen. My heart breaks for this man. He's a human. And how can the fire department mayor not see he is clearly being messed with and feel bad considering all these courts backed him? I am so sad. Didn't Bilbrey report a long time ago that they did the same thing to that lady? That was the EMS chief. Is this a pattern? Is the mayor okay with this? This is so sad. Yeah. It's very, very strange. Very, very weird to me. And so, moving on from here, I just want to say there was a part in this that I didn't cover, where Ken Jackson is quoting from the newspaper to the newspaper here. Ken Jackson used to be the owner of Heartland. It says, after watching, I was pretty alarmed, said Ken Jackson, Heartland's new owner and president in 2025. Now, Heartland's owner, not new, it doesn't say new owner, it's Ken Jackson, Heartland's owner and president in 2025. Now, that's a key distinction. He was the president and owner in 2025. It's since been sold. So I don't know if he gave that quote in 2025 or he gave the quote now. Kind of the weird thing that I'm seeing is Ken Jackson's doing this thing where he's like flying all over, being like super political. I don't know if he's looking for like a board or some kind of appointment from Trump or something. He's one of these guys that's got a lot of money and he thinks he's somebody. Just very... I never really cared for the man when Muncie was in bed with Heartland. I wanted Muncie to get out of the contract with Heartland as soon as possible. Ken Jackson's watched the program before. I don't know if I had Ken Jackson on at some point or I didn't. But I just am not a fan of him. And so it's all scuzzy to me. At the end of the day, I'm not protecting Troy Delaney. Call any of the Muncie firemen can holler up at me. What more can I say? I think Troy's an idiot. Half of this shit is his fault because he gets in his own way, but it's not what they're making it out to be. It's like, he's just like there, and just quit interacting with people and let this play out. Don't give them a reason to boot you, because they will take it. They will take, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And I've thought that from the whole thing. I just thought, man, they're never going to let him get his job back. It's the same thing that they did to Rachel Clark. They screwed Rachel Clark over. And Rachel gave so much to the Muncie Fire Department and helped with the EMS shit. And they did all of that stuff. And they looked for reasons to get rid of her. They looked, and they finally got it. I knew her vacations would do her in one of these days. And it almost did. It almost literally did her in, honestly. That's a whole nother story. But you can't give them any bit of room. And Troy is like the walking definition of, fuck up. It's just, quit doing things. He's definitely doing too much. So, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if you're on the Muncie Fire Department. If you're on the Muncie Fire Department and you don't like that I think that you guys are screwing this up, I don't know what to tell you. You know, if you're on the Muncie Fire Department and you think that I'm protecting Troy, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? If you're Troy Delaney and you think that I'm being mean to you, look in the freaking mirror, dude. I think they're both idiots. I think, you know, I don't know what to do with this. It's just a whole bunch of idiots. This is a situation of one idiot fighting another idiot. They're just all idiots. But at the end of the day, whether I like Troy or I don't like Troy, he has to go through the right course, and they got to do things the right way. Now, he might have to answer for the thing at the beating up this guy and pulling him out, you know, buttoning him with his stomach and dragging him outside. You know, that sounds like the 1970s to me. All right, that don't sound like a problem, you know. Gone are the days that we used to be able to beat some people up and not have anything serious happen. He got a misdemeanor out of it. Let me seriously ask you, how many Muncie firemen are rolling around the city right now with misdemeanors on their record? For how many firemen are rolling around with shit much more serious than beating up on some other older man? You know, two men the same age beating up on each other, whatever. The firefighters should come on and plead their case. Yeah, hey, I will tell you. Brindlin, or whatever your name is, I will allow you to come on and plead your case. All those other firefighters that were down at the firefighter convention that were drinking and carrying on and got all out of line and were being assholes down there, come on, plead your case. Chief Burford, all of the leadership with the last name or the first name Dan, I'll let any Dan that's on the Muncie Fire Department come on and plead their case. I'll let Troy Delaney come on and plead his case. You can all come on. I'll let you both come on and you can fight each other. The Muncie Fire Merit Commission can come on and talk. Andrew Dale's probably not going to like this episode, I'm sure. Anybody got something to say, come on. But if anybody has a problem with me saying that the Muncie Fire Department is in fuck-up land right now, you're an idiot. Because they are. They've been in that place for a long time. They've been screwing things up for a long time. Quit screwing it up. You're pulling a Delaney. Quit pulling a Delaney. Delaney needs to quit pulling a fire department. They're all idiots. Just quit. All right, that's it. I'm done. Okay. That's all I got to say. My thoughts and my prayers go out to Mayor Dan. My thoughts and my prayers go out to the city because God only knows what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm fine. We can have everything. Everybody come on and talk about what's that fire department function? What's it called? F-Dick. That's what that convention's called. The fire department's yearly convention is called F-Dick. God, firemen are so weird. All right. You guys have a good night. Take care. Tomorrow, we're going to do an hour and 30-minute show. That's it, on insurance. Kate says 2-hour show tomorrow on insurance. Take care. Good night. And good. You're not in Henry County. Stop being Sproles. Good light. Yeah, that's exactly right, Admiral Eric. That's the reason I know. All firemen are idiots. Firemen, all that nonsense. They're just all stupid. This is just like fireman bullshit. Good night. Take care. Good night. God bless. Goodbye. Good night. Good night. Good night. Goodbye.